Hi everybody, my name's Daniel Arbon. Welcome back to our channel. I am a filmmaker who thought it was a great idea to make a low-budget aviation film. So through this series of videos, I'm hoping to take you guys a little bit closer to our production, what our plans are, and hopefully all the way through production, just giving you a little bit of a closer look at everything that's been going on. So one of the questions I've been asked in a couple of ways, people have said, why Lanoe Hawker? There are, of course, so many stories of World War I aviation, so many tremendous heroics, so many brilliant pilots, and so many tragic stories. The reality is there could be films made about every single one of them, and it would be great to do so. The reason I chose Lanoe Hawker, I think there's a number of reasons. Firstly, I love the origin story. I don't think it's covered very much. The early war period really doesn't feature very much in the film catalogue at all, and the most notable exception I can think of is the BBC TV series Wings. Also, of course, Lanoe Hawker's famous dogfight with Richthofen. I would love to see that brought to film in a realistic depiction of that famous battle. I think the thing about Lanoe Hawker to me is that he wasn't just a great pilot, and he was. In many ways he was possibly one of the greatest pilots of the early war, but he was also a great inventor and he was a great leader. And when you look a little bit more into his personal life and who he was as a person, I find him quite a complex character that I think lends himself very nicely to hold a full-length film, which is important because I think the genre has suffered massively in the past from very two-dimensional characters, and the storytelling in previous films has been lacking, and I think that Hawker is enough of a character to make it all the way through a film and still be very, very interesting. I think Hawker also gets a little bit lost in history when people look primarily at numbers. When we look at the World War I aces, and we start at the top of the list with Richthofen on 80 kills, and work our way down, you would never find Hawker because he's down at the bottom as numbers 7 official credited kills, and I think that really doesn't do credit to what an amazing impact he and a lot of the early pilots had on the war. Because when we look at the latter numbers that were generally put down in 1917, 1918, it was a completely different aerial warfare from the early days and the early pioneers of aviation combat, of which Hawker was right up there as one of the key players. And I think, of course, the ultimate irony is so many of these early pioneers of aviation combat in many ways sealed their own fate in doing so. Some people say that Lanoe Hawker's Victoria Cross is a little bit soft, and I understand why they say that. I think the two main things that you have to remember about it is, firstly, it wasn't just for his attacks on 25th July that he was awarded Victoria Cross for. It was in recognition of a full year of outstanding service and bravery. His low flying and regularly putting himself in danger was acknowledged in the Victoria Cross at the time. And secondly, I think we also need to remember that just because his actions kind of became standard procedure later in the war, at the time, it was an incredible show of bravery, and it still was. I mean, if we look at it, he's flying a flimsy machine with no parachute into the direct machine gun fire of an enemy aircraft 3 times in one day. It's an incredible feat of bravery. I think rather than letting the actions of the later pilots diminish Hawker's heroics and his award, I think it needs to be the other way around, that we let Hawker's VC admonish the later pilots that in reality they were out there on an almost daily basis performing Victoria Cross winning heroics, which is of course why so few of them came home. Why war films? Why aviation? Why World War One? What can we expect for you to bring to it? I think for me the big thing for a war film, when it's done well, is that I feel there is no genre that represents a wider spectrum of the human experience on this planet. I think a war film, when done properly, in my mind, plumbs the lowest lows and the highest highs of what humans can experience. I think we all know that war is hell, and the absolute depravity of humanity, yet at the same time the ultimate sacrifice and the ultimate show of love is to lay down your life for your friends and your family. And I think the World War I aviators epitomise the genre. They were going over the top almost on a daily basis. They were putting themselves in such incredible danger, yet we all know that the mess life antics and the silly games and the camaraderie and all of the highs of fun and antics. I find it fascinating how the two go together, and how they found that courage and that bravery to go out every day, and how people like Hawker as a leader managed to encourage that and instigate that and enable these young boys to find that courage without going completely mad. I find it a fascinating subject, and something that I really hope to be able to do justice to. It's what I hope to do. Whether I do or not is yet to be seen. But it's what I try to do. So thanks again for watching. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the box below. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. In the next video, I'm going to be taking a little bit of a closer look at some of our guns that people have asked to see, and our miniatures. So I'll see you again in the next video.